Hey everyone, how's it going? Let's get started with the midweek market outlook. Um, a lot of us, I want to talk about a few pairs that we were in as well, specifically like euro dollar. So a bunch of you guys either take a euro dollar position that didn't go all in your way, or maybe you took a loss here, or maybe you took a break even. I'm not sure. I got a lot of direct messages on this, and I want to kind of explain this as well. Hopefully, that will help some traders in the mindset and in the perspective kind of zone. So I'm just waiting for maybe a few more people on, and then I can get started. It's a little bit rushed. I forgot to post this link in my channel, but we're gonna get started. As you can see, I don't have too much on watch on the right. You can see there is really not much, no dollar pairs because I'm fairly still kind of observing them. And I do think some yen pairs are gaining strength, so we'll take a look at the yen pairs. But anything else you can see there is really not much else on Forex. And I think silver and gold are kind of declining as well, so we'll take a look into them. And I think the indices could have something going on. Indices market could have something going on in the near future. We'll talk about these two S&P and S&P US Dow Jones, and we'll go over crypto market as always at the end. Okay, so it'll be a relatively quicker session, I think, because I really don't have too much pairs to need to go over. And during these kind of time, it's better to be very patient. Once again, to be very, very patient with your plan, with your management, because this is a time where traders often start getting emotional. Okay, this is just based on my experience. Traders start getting emotional because maybe they took a trade or a couple of trades lost from the yesterday or previous day's dollar movement, and they're getting a little bit emotional. They're trying to either make back their money or trying to enter more trades, and usually that's going to give you a bad result or a bad kind of uh, a bad mindset that you're putting yourself currently. So I want to make sure you guys understand, you know, during these kind of period of time where there's not much going on, or maybe you took a couple losses, it's better to be more patient, right? So if you can stay away from the charts, or if you can stay away from entry, you gotta work on that aspect of it. Okay. So I do want to just quickly go over euro dollar before we jump into the market and kind of talk about a couple of things that you guys are saying and kind of what else I'm watching for the remaining of the week. I've been getting a lot of direct messages on this. Direct message that either some of you guys enter, maybe there's a buy position here that you guys enter, or I don't know how you guys entered it, but seems like a lot of you guys take a loss here, or maybe enter the same way I did, and then end up with break even. Because I personally end up with a break even. Nothing to be ashamed of or nothing to lie about. It is what it is, right, guys? We can't control the market. We certainly cannot predict or how far the market move and go. We can only adjust our management and etc. So something like this happened, and something like a really strong momentum pushing down. Mostly the direct message I got is, "Hey, the dollar is reversing. I lost a bunch of money. What do I do now?" That's usually the questions or the kind of the messages I got, and I'm kind of wondering why now, if you enter a position at loss, that happens, right? We all know losing is part of trading, but uh, it's always coming a combination of where, oh, I lost more than I should, or I lost a lot. And I'm wondering, I always dig a little bit deeper. Why don't you have good risk management? Did you risk 1% of your account, or did you risk a certain set according to your plan? And unfortunately, most of the people answer me is no, they did not. They did not follow a 1% rule, or they did not follow something that was originally in their plan. They kind of just enter because maybe someone else showing them to enter, like because for example, myself or other traders. So they kind of put more at risk for a position to buy, and then it didn't work out for them. So I want to make sure that everyone understands is that, if you're going to follow other traders, make sure you understand your decision is your decision only. Okay, your decision is your decision only. There's no need if you're going to follow other traders, you need to prepare to understand that Any trade you enter can end up in a loss. Okay, disregard technical or fundamental analysis, and you need to understand that that is your trading account that you're trading. So if your decision is follow other people, and if you enter a trade that's in a loss, make sure you understand that is your decision. And second, if you enter a position and you risk more than you should, then you got to understand you can't possibly blame others, right? You have to really dig back, do your journal, and look back at things that you took and be like, well, did I follow my trading plan? Did I risk the same amount that I should? Or did I over risk because I got FOMO, I got greedy, whatever the case may be, a combination of them, or maybe because you saw myself or other people who talk about euro dollar that we could potentially look for upside, and you, because of that reason only, you decide to risk more. All that a combination factor you really need to look back on. You really need to journal your trade to understand what areas um, that causes this, right? Whether it's greed or fear of missing out, or just in general, you know, the particular trader, maybe they didn't do their analysis, but they saw other trader talk about this, so they just kind of go ahead to make a decision to follow them and risk more. And now, let's say the trade doesn't work out, which it didn't work out, right? And then now they're at a bigger drawn, which is something that I always talk about is you gotta understand risk management is super important. Every trade we take is going to have a different outcome. You can't predict the outcome, you can't control the outcome. So it's best to understand why we risk every single trade the same, because not every not a particular trade is better than a previous trade, or a previous trade is better than a particular trade. So every trade should be risked the same. Okay? So I thought I explained this, or I start off on this because I want to explain this a little bit more detail, because I get quite a bit of direct messages from various of you guys, and I thought this is probably the best way to explain this situation. So the trade doesn't work out. So what, right? Because if you risk 1%, you lost 1%. If you have a trade, you took a break even, and you take a break even, right? So if you put yourself in a position where a trade lost and ends up taking quite a bit of your account, then you really need to work on your trading analysis. You need to work on your psychology, mindset, and emotion. Okay. So that's just something that I want to kind of talk about for a little bit, because I really want to help the traders out there who are struggling in this concept, who are struggling to push themselves to understand that part of the reason. Because you spend few weeks of gaining your profit, and all it took is one day to lose all your profit, and that's really not a good feeling, right? Okay, so let's get started now, everyone. So let's get started now. As you can see, I really don't have much dollar on watch, or I don't have much pair on watch at all. And again, I mentioned this beginning, it's a period of time where you need to be patient now, because if there's no setup, there is no setup, right? Don't force yourself if there's nothing going on right now. Okay. So I'm gonna start with, I guess I'll start with euro dollar, because seems like that is the messages I still be getting. Um, I don't really see euro dollar how I see before. Before it was actually looking very clean in my opinion. Now we have this descending structure, we have this double bottom. Price did indeed push up, right? We got the entry, we on it, and we were looking for continuation. It just didn't continue, and that is that. It kind of just reverts back up to this bottom. Now this bottom is somewhere where price can still consolidate here a little bit longer. We don't know what's going to happen. Again, this can easily just start dropping down past this low now, and basically void, invalid everything that we talk about here, invalid this double bottom. So this is a very key area to be very, very patient, right? Don't bother trying to enter here where there is actually nothing to enter, right? If it's going to consolidate here a little bit longer, if it's going to push down completely and follow further correction, then yeah, this could easily turn into more of a downside move now. And basically what I said here and all this is no longer applicable. That's if this happens, right? That is if the market pushes down further and then we get further continuation. Whereas if we're just going to consolidate here, but we're just kind of moving sideways a little bit and then going more into a more of a descending kind of structure now, then potentially we might just potentially we're just getting into another correction here, and nothing changes from a price action point of view here, and we can still potentially look for upside if a consolidation or if a reversal happens. So already you should have a plan on how you plan to get involved if the price develop in a certain way. If the price doesn't develop, then just happy to stay out and observe a little bit more, right? Especially if you take a couple losses, if you're feeling emotion here, it's really best not to enter any more trade to put yourself at a greater risk. All right. So let's continue here. Really no other dollar pair, okay, but I will talk about dollar CAD and dollar Singapore dollar. I will talk about that as well. So dollar CAD, I think a lot of us originally was looking at this as a potential continuation downwards. Now, and I mentioned when I think it was on weekly outlook when I go over all the dollar pairs, and I wasn't inclined to get involved with dollar CAD while I was looking at euro dollar or maybe pound dollar for a potential upside, for a potential weakness of the dollar. And dollar CAD certainly could be a weakness of the dollar as well, but I'm not seeing a bigger structure up here. I'm not seeing the same as euro dollar and pound dollar at the time. So I mentioned dollar CAD wasn't really on my watch on Monday. And now, as it continue to develop here, right, you can put in a trend line here, you can put in a potential structure. But I think it all depends on what this area is going to do, whether or not this is going to reverse down now. But if you look a little bit closely into the lower time frame, to me, it almost look like this is an impulsive move upwards now, right? And this is a correction that it's currently in. It almost look like this is a bullish continuation. Certainly, this can correct and maybe drop down or whatever the case may be. But it looks like more as a bullish structure to me at this moment. Okay, so basically, if this is going to continue upwards, then you need to be careful because the downward, the bearish momentum, it doesn't look like it's there anymore, right? Even though we have a very sharp move to the downside, but this correction is important, and this lower time frame development is also important. I'm not really seeing a bearish price action yet, right? It depends on what this area would do if we consolidate here a little bit, maybe forming ascending structure on its own, or maybe some sort of double top or head and shoulder, whatever it's going to do here. That will at least confirm a little bit more on how the price may move. But for now, I'm very more neutral on this one. I'm not planning to enter any sell or anything like that. I'm just going to observe what's going on here. Dollar Singapore dollar. Have a look at this one for a while, but it's very, very similar like dollar CAD, I would imagine, right? Basically, very, very similar price action. Similar kind of structure, like we're having this kind of ascending structure, like. So again, it's kind of looking at what is going to happen here. Now, you can see dollar CAD is a little bit more bullish on the lower time frame, whereas the dollar Singapore dollar is kind of pushing down now. So if this is going to be a continuation, if this is something that fits your plan to enter, then go ahead. If it pushes out followed by a correction, I think that's going to be a little bit safer, just because the overall price has been pushing up, right? This is a push up, and this can be easily a continuation. This push up, and what if this just consolidate here a little bit longer and push higher? Okay, so I think the better suggestion here is be trying to enter something like this, and this creates a head and shoulder as well if it does break out and then a continuation downwards after. But it's the same idea here as dollar CAD, right? I'm going to be very more patient on something like this to develop. I prefer a push down first, followed by a correction if you're going to get involved in something like this. And it's the same as dollar CAD, right? I'm not going to get involved with something like this. I prefer a push down and then correction to go. Other than that, I'm happy to wait like dollar CAD, just like I'm happy to wait here on dollar Singapore dollar. Okay, so that is these two dollar pairs. Like I said, I don't really have any other dollar pair on watch, and I'm not really interested in any of the dollar pairs. I don't think there's much development here. I'm happy to wait for a little bit more development, right? It's fine not to have pairs you need to enter, everyone. I just want to make this clear. Sometimes I get these messages, people asking, I don't have anything on watch. Is that normal? Am I doing something wrong? No, you're not doing anything wrong, right? It's fine to not have anything on watch because they don't fit your plan, right? This is how trading is, right? It's not like social media where people post you profit after profit, they enter so many trades and profits, right? A lot of them are demo or fake, right? They're all trying to sell you something. Trading, if you want to be consistent, less is more. Okay. Set 15-minute flag going down. Sure, if that's in your plan, right? Talk about this. But like I said, this is going to be a little bit more risky if it hasn't break out here. That's always you understand that's a risk that could be happen because this looks like it's still in a kind of a more bullish kind of price action. This pushes up. This can push down, but what if it just start forming a correction here to go higher? That's a possibility as well, right? So if you wait for a breakout followed by correction, maybe that's going to be a little bit safer. But of course, follow your plan, follow your analysis. If you feel this is a correct entry, then go ahead and execute, right? So let's continue here. I'm going to talk about the yen pairs. I think yen pair could have some potential. Do I follow call report? No, I don't. I know what that is, but I personally don't follow that. Again, it's something that it's up to the trader themselves. If they felt that is something they want to incorporate into their analysis, I think that's totally fine. Now let's look at a few yen pairs. I think yen pairs are getting a little bit better now. I remember a few weeks ago, I wasn't too inclined on the yen pairs. I was more neutral. Now I think the yen pairs are getting a little bit better. I think there's a few that is standing out a little bit more, and I'll go over them one by one. Just quickly, I don't see much on pound dollar here. I was originally seeing this as a potential kind of inverse head and shoulder. I think I talk about this in the weekly outlook as well. Now, because most of the dollar gained strength, I think most of the dollar gained strength, we all saw dollar push down yesterday. So it kind of look odd now. The structure looks a little bit incomplete. Looks like this push down, if this is going to follow by more correction here, it looks like it's going to down further. So what was once looking to me pretty good bullish potential, like at least I was looking for a potential bullish opportunity. I like how the price has a really nice impulse up. This is a larger correction. We pushed down from the top here, right? We pushed down from the top and we failed to continue after breaking this low. There's no correction here to go lower. Instead we have a impulse up followed by correction. So that was at the time at least what I see. I like the inverse head and shoulder. I like the overall time frame. And I thought if we can have a breakout followed by a little correction, I think this was going to be a good potential buy. But that did not happen at all. That kind of just pushed down even further. We don't know if this area is going to consolidate a little bit, no or not. We're not sure. But that is no longer what is on my watch list. I was on my watch list on Monday, but it is no longer on my watch list. I'm happy to sit this one out. I'm happy to wait a little bit more. This can certainly still push out from here. If that is, then same idea. If I follow by a correction here, this could be a valid potential entry. But that's only if this reverts up like that, right? Other than that, if this is going to consolidate here a little bit longer, it looks like this is going to push down another move down to the bottom here. But for now, I'm fairly neutral on pound dollar. Now let's talk about a few Aussie pairs now because there's a few Aussie pairs that I think it's potential. So if you look at Aussie Yen here, now if we're gonna look at all the COVID kind of period, because a lot of pairs are looking pretty similar to what the COVID was happening. So this was COVID, right? We pushed down for this correction, and then there's a continuation, and price pushed down massively. Now we kind of look like we're getting similar structure here, similar structure. We have the same push down, and this could be that first correction we saw, or you can consider this is the correction that we see. And if this is going to be continuation, right? If this is going to be a downward continuation, then certainly we can expect this to continue push lower. Now, I think the key here is breaking this low. This was kind of the previous low when price kind of formed a bullish correction and continue higher. Okay, so basically, if the price is going to go lower, I think breaking this low here is super important. So whether or not we get a correction here to break lower, or we just kind of continue downwards and then create a correction here, I think both are valid to help the price to push lower, and you're basically finding lower time frame correction and then on this way down, and then trying to capitalize on this potential move down to the next low here. So that's Aussie Yen. Let's take a look at Cat Yen. I think Cat Yen is probably my favorite yen pair. I'm not in this. I'm not in this trade right now, but I'm looking for a trade to enter. Um, I think Cat Yen is looking good, and it finally kind of give you that head and shoulder that I talked about on the higher time frame. It looks like this could be a potential continuation. If we look at the higher time frame here, I like how we have this kind of potential double top. Price broke the double top and then didn't continue higher. It kind of just reverts back down. And we're seeing a much more clear head and shoulder now, and it's at the top of the overall price currently. So it's a very, very significant area to have a reversal after this bullish move up to the price. So I do like this. I do like a potential sell. I do like a potential kind of a bearish kind of market. And if we look at how COVID has happened, this was from COVID. COVID had a double top, and then price just kind of impulsively pushed down. So we'll see how this area will go. If this head and shoulder is going to play out, I do expect at least hitting the neckline here. If we can break down followed by a correction, then certainly more downside is also possible. Oh, hello. Nice to see you guys. Good to see you. Good, good, good. Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you very much. So that is Cat Yen. So I'll be looking for some possible entry here. I think this is developing into kind of a flag, right? We have a nice impulsive phase breaking out of this right shoulder. I think this is a clear kind of a correction. We have a breakout now. Good. So whether or not this is going to be a continuation to push lower, we're not sure yet. So basically waiting to see a little bit more development here. I like how we are not like reversing back up, and this is clearly a more of a corrective price action rather than a impulsive move up, right? This is more moving, it's moving up ascending line, but it's not moving up impulsively. So this to me is a good correction to potentially wait for something like that. So I'll be kind of on the watch. I'll set alert somewhere like this. I just want to pay attention to see if we're going to get a breakout from here. This can push down and then potentially form a right shoulder, and then we push down lower. Don't know that yet, but I do think Cat Yen is probably the better yen pairs to get involved in. If we do get a continuation correction here. Now moving on to Swiss yen. Someone asked about Swiss yen. And I think on Monday, I do say that this correction here could be more inclined to lead to a bearish kind of price action, which is kind of what we want to see, right? But this area here is a little bit off. Well, we want to see some sort of continuation correction, but it's a little bit choppy here. It's a little bit indecisive, but I think waiting here, being patient here is going to pay you off. Is whether or not we're going to consolidate here a little bit longer, potentially forming a little bit more noticeable correction to push down. But I think on Monday I mentioned also is that if I would be much, much more inclined if price just push out here and then followed by a correction to go, because not only it breaks out of this lower time frame correction, it also breaks out of this higher time frame kind of ascending channel as well. And if we look at the overall price, we talk about on the higher time frame, nothing changes, right? We're still potentially want to get this sell off on the price, and it's whether or not this area is going to give us that sell confirmation. Okay, so that is Swiss yen. It's basically waiting to see what's going to happen here, but I would prefer to get involved after price break this previous low, break out of this correction, and also break out of this ascending channel as well. So let's continue here. I will talk about gold. Let me just wrap up what's going on here on Forex, and then I will jump into commodities and things like that. Like I said, it will be a quicker session today because I don't have too much to talk about. Euro yen, and Kiwi Yen. I'm gonna go over them really quickly because they're similar like Aussie Yen. I think they're very similar. So Euro Yen here, again, this is the previous low that the price is currently kind of rejecting on. But after seeing how far this move has already gone, right? If we see how all the way from the top here, we have already pushed down massively already, right? And it's just a matter of fact now, are we going to continue further, right? Because we're at this previous low now, right? This previous low is quite significant, I think, because this was also the previous double bottom before the price kind of pushed up. So I think same approach, same idea like Aussie Yen is if we get a consolidation here and push down, or we just kind of break down and followed by further consolidation, those are going to prove or at least validate this further downside. And potentially we are already reversing all of this ascending channel. It's just not moving in a straight line, right? This is how market moves. We push down, we pull back, we push down, we pull back, we push down, we pull back, etc. That is how market moves, right? It's never going to move in a straight line like this. So be a little bit more patient, kind of waiting this area here, break up, break down preferably, and then continuation is the way to go. Kiwi Yen, same idea, right? Because this is that significant low that the price is still working on, right? We push down, we pull back, we push down again. We're just hovering around this area. But I think from the higher time frame perspective, same idea having that double top here. Same idea that we could potentially get this continuation push further. It's just this low should be broken and then consolidate a little bit more. I think that's going to be a better sell opportunity. Once we clear this low, then it shows you that price does indeed have the bearish momentum to continue and potentially just look for a further downside from the price. But that is, like I said in the Telegram, I think a lot of these are just hovering around this area. So this definitely doesn't mean you should enter these. You should be watching out for price to develop here and then confirm it by pushing down by a lower time frame correction. That's going to help you save a lot of unnecessary money, a lot of unnecessary entries. So that's Kiwi Yen. Someone talk about Euro CAD. Enter the buy here. Not sure what buy are you talking about. Again, I don't think, personally, I'm not really favoring EuroCAD. I don't see much developing here. I'm not sure actually how you are looking for the buy. Really, basically, not seeing much at all. Maybe this is kind of how you see the price. I'm not quite sure. And this doesn't look like a buy. It almost looked like an impulse up, a reversal impulse down, and this is a consolidation. This certainly can push higher, but I don't think this correction is finished yet. This can easily just kind of push up here, form a correction like so, and then push down lower. Okay, so if you ask me, I don't really see a bullish kind of price action. I'm more fairly neutral, and this latest bit of the price doesn't really give me that confirmation of a sell, of a buy actually. So it looks more of a sell to me actually. But overall, I don't see much structured price action. I don't see not much development here on EuroCAD. That is me personally. Kiwi Dollar, I don't see Kiwi Dollar much at all. Just like I can see, I don't see much development on Aussie Dollar, Kiwi Dollar, any of the dollar pairs. In fact, what was once originally to me was looking kind of more like this, but this part of the price kind of throw me off now. So I kind of just take all the charts because I don't want that to confuse myself. Sometimes when it's contradicting, just erase all the charts, have it clean, start fresh, and you look at what's going on, right? This latest bit of the price does look like a continuation. Right now we're at this low now, just like Kiwi Yen we went over. Again, I don't see much developing here. I think if you're looking for sell, it should be either a consolidation here to push the price lower and then continue, or just wait for price to completely break out and then continuation after. Other than that, not really seeing much here on any of the dollar pairs, like I mentioned a few times already. Of course, and how traders wanted to enter, how they want to get involved, it's totally up to you, right? So anyone wants to enter, buy or sell, it's totally up to your trading plan. But for me, consistency is number one, sustainable is number one. If I don't see anything I like, if I don't see anything that's developing, I'm happy to stay out of it, happy to just be on the sideline. I someone talk about euros. No, I don't. Okay, so continue euro pound. Euro pound. I just want to do a quick update because seems like there's some of you guys maybe still in this buy position and looking for upside, right? So slowly it looks like it is. Just watch out for this inverse head and shoulder because this might pull back a little bit deeper before it continues. And I always talk about euro pound. For me personally, I'm not too interested, but I do foresee a potential up move to the top. And kind of just mentioned we want to watch out for this area because this down move can still correct. And this up move is short term, in my opinion, and it's likely to happen, but just watch out this area for potential reversal. Let's continue here. Pound Aussie, not seeing much on Pound Aussie at all, to be honest. What was once looking pretty clean for a downside move, not really seeing that much anymore. You can see this is just kind of continue upwards. So again, I'm not sure what you're looking at in terms of buy and sell, but it doesn't look like the sell is there anymore to me. I originally liked the sell. The price looks pretty clean. We have this ascending channel. We push down for the price correction, etc. But it's basically no longer valid, I want to say, because this is already breaking up, right? You can see what was once a correct potential structure is already breaking up, and there's no signs of slowing down here. Unless something miraculously happened here at the double top, I really doubt it. So I'm happy to just watch this kind of develop a little bit more because the bearish momentum to me was no longer valid. So we'll see how the next few days goes in this area. And that is about it, guys. I don't have any other Forex pair on watch. Went over all the ones that you guys pointed out. Again, this is the time to be patient. Okay, ask yourself, do you want to be trading for a long time or a short time? Right, a lot of traders in this kind of period tends to jump into positions where nothing is developed and they lose unnecessary money. And it's just a cycle that I see that repeats over and over again. Okay, so unfortunately, I'm trying to tell everyone that if there's no entry, just don't force yourself, right? Why force entries when there's nothing that fits your plan and you take unnecessary loss and you get a little bit more emotional and then the cycle repeats, right? It takes, I see this kind of cycle over a lot because traders take, a few weeks to build up profit, build up profit, build up profit, and it just takes one day to eliminate all the profits because they got emotional, they start entering more trades, they start getting revenge trade, they start over leverage their positions, and it takes literally just one day to wipe out your entire weeks of profit. And it's sad to hear that sometimes because that is the story I hear over and over again. It may or may not happen to you right now. It may or may not, or it may have happened to you in the past, but it's the same story I get from traders who approach me and ask for help. That is the same cycle, and that's the statistical low lie, right? And that is the similar story that I'm going to hear from most traders where they will tell me that they have a plan, they were following great, and then suddenly one day they took maybe a couple losses, and then all sorts of trading plan is thrown out the window. All sorts of risk management is thrown out the window. All they can think about is chase back their losses, which accelerate their losses even more. All right. Did I go over dollar yen? I didn't go over dollar yen. I didn't go over dollar yen, but I already take profit here. I updated everyone in my Telegram yesterday. So when I was looking at this trade, I originally the original analysis was actually looking for a price to push down all the way to the low here, right? So, but it just didn't quite just too low, and then kind of already having a pullback here, right? And this is why we need to actively manage it, right? I couldn't sell at the possible lowest point. It's not possible, right? But I did manage to get out of it once we broke this high here and this bullish impulse up that already changes kind of everything I see. So I just exit here for about, I think, 3.5% or so. And you can see after it push out for the price, it consolidate here a little bit longer and push up higher, right? So again, you have to actively manage your position, right? And something like this is clearly a reversal, push up and followed by correction, and you need to um, exit the position accordingly. So I don't see the bearish momentum continue. It looks like this is going to kind of further push up on the price, especially we form this kind of mini lower time frame correction. So we'll kind of have to see how the price will go. This certainly can continue moving up once again, just like what we have seen in these past. Price is failing to break lower, and we usually have this pullback from the price, and it looks like we might get that as well. Okay, so but I was able to get out of the position, so very pleased or very happy with the overall management. Sometimes I'll get these questions like, well, how come you don't exit here? Well, I wouldn't know if this is going to be the low, right? You just have to think about it. Don't believe everything you see on social media when people show you that they enter a trade like this. This is often what I see on social media. Right? They're going to show you a chart like this, and they're going to say, "Oh, I exit right here." Right? This is what they're always going to show you. "Oh, I exit right here." It's like, what is your plan to exit here? There is no plan. There is no strategy, and there is no management. You exit this. They show you this graph is because they want to prove to you that this is a trade that they enter, but they probably did not, right? They want to show you that this is something that you will learn if you buy into their courses. So don't believe all that kind of stuff, right? You gotta start thinking it more logically, right? What is your entry point? You don't possibly enter here. I think entering here is definitely makes sense, right? Because we push down, correction, we push down, right? I didn't even enter here. I entered at the second correction, and price pushes down, and then after forming a double bottom, after price break above this previous high, and then form that little bit of correction, then that's my exit point, right? So that is all reasonable and logical instead of something like this when they enter here and they say they exit here for no apparent reason. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you guys understand that, right? Don't fall for those things because I always ask yourself, why are they showing something like this? And when you ask them, oh, what is your decision? What is your entry criteria? What is your exit strategy? Well, they will never tell you because they'll always say, oh, well, we shared this in their VIP signals or whatever group. And the whole purpose is for them to uh, sell you something, for you to buy into whatever they're selling. And then basically you pay the money to get into their groups and realize that's not the case at all. They did not enter this, or they did not show you, or they're not going to teach you anything like this. All it is a marketing way, right? But anyways, that is dollar yen. That's how I got out of position. And then basically, I'm not seeing the same bearish momentum like what I once saw. So this can easily push up higher. We don't know. So, but it's best to get out of position first and then observe for further development. Hello, hello. Nice to see you guys. I can talk about Euro Swiss, but make sure you understand I'm not here to give signals or anything. So if you enter a trade already, it's if you're not comfortable with the trade, my friend, then why did you enter in the first place? Right? So if you're not comfortable with your position, right? If you're not comfortable, then you shouldn't enter in the first place, right? So I'm trying to make traders to think outside the box. I'm trying to push the trader to get out of their comfort zone because I often see this, right? When people say, I entered this, what do you think? What do you think? Well, it doesn't matter what I think anymore because you already entered it, right? So if I tell you, no, I don't think this is going to go up, are you going to close your position? Not likely, right? So always have confidence in your strategy or plan. And if you don't have enough confidence, then start doing more back testing, start working on your chart work, start pushing yourself to do more uh, chart related kind of work that will help you to be more comfortable exiting positions. Okay. I just went over dollar yen, my friend. I'm sorry you missed it. I went over quite a bit as well, so you might have to rewatch it. But I'm not really into. I already got a dollar yen, right? I talk about this in my Telegram. You saw it as well. Got all the trade here, and this is kind of pushing up now, so I'm not really interested. There is no selling opportunity what was once earlier. Okay. So Euro Swiss, I'm not sure where you buy 1.0723. So probably somewhere here. Sure, if that fits your plan, right? If that fits your plan to enter. Like I said, if you're not comfortable entering, then you gotta ask yourself, why did you enter in the first place? Okay. So let's move on now, everyone. Let's move on to gold and silver. Looks like they're dropping now. So I was able to get on a silver position. Like I update everyone here. And I saw some of you guys are talking about the head and shoulder on silver or the head and shoulder on gold. this is probably the head and shoulder you're seeing, or maybe you're seeing a smaller version of it. But looks like the bullish momentum what was once much more clear to me is exhausted now. So this is kind of what I'm seeing here. Is after price pushes up, passing this high here, basically I already moved on my stop loss to a little bit more because I noticed that price pushes up and then had a really sharp move to the downside, right? And I didn't want a trade that was hitting at least 1-to-1, end up with the break even once again. So I exited the trade here for about 0.5%. Again, I couldn't exit at the top. I couldn't exit at the very highest, right? We wouldn't know what the price will do. We don't know if price is going to continue or not. Okay, so looks like the head and shoulder is happening now. So I'm not sure if any of you guys got in the position. I did saw some of you guys talk about the head and shoulder here, and looks like what was once bullish to me is kind of declining now. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with silver. We could potentially see this as a structure, I want to say, but I'm not putting this in yet. I want to see a little bit more development from here. Is it going to just push down for the price here now? Or is it going to consolidate here in this kind of sideways range? So I'm happy to be more on the sideline for this one after just entering this position. Uh, I did take, if I can get back into, I did take a loss here, if I recall, and I did take a loss here, and I took a 0.5% profit. So overall, I'm down 0.5% here. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient here, just waiting to see how this development here, or is it going to move sideways a little bit more longer. Now looking at gold here, some of you guys are looking at gold, and I do think I do see the same reversal. It's a little bit more sideways. So depending on if you see this as a head and shoulder or if you see this as a head and shoulder, similar idea here, right? It's just that it's showing you a little bit more bearish price action now. So you want to wait for it to see if this is actually going to push down further, because this move is still quite sharp, right? Now, gold and silver doesn't necessarily have to move the same. They do generally move the same, but they don't have to be identical. They're not 100% correlated, right? So in this case, you gotta watch out for this area here. Is this bullish move is still quite fierce. So although we're seeing some reversal here, this has to push down and then continue correct to give you that further downside confirmation. Whereas if this is going to consolidate here a little bit longer, what if it just hits the bottom and then start reversing, right? Basically creating a bullish continuation correction, which is what we have been in this last few days or so, right? Since the price dropped down, we have already recover, correction, recover, correction, recover, correction, and continue higher. So you just have to watch out for potential bullish continuation here if you're looking for the sell, right? While the lower time frame does indeed look a little bit more bearish now, you just have to watch out for this area here for that potential reversal. If it does break lower here, continuation would be ideal to continue lowering the price. So that is gold. EuroCAD I already went over earlier, and I don't see much at all, to be honest. I remember someone else also mentioned EuroCAD. I really don't see much on EuroCAD, unfortunately. I really don't see much develop at all. Not sure what you guys are seeing. I would prefer next time if you guys mention if you're looking for long or short. If you're looking for long or short, you can let me know. That'll be easier to actually, maybe for a future, I'm gonna make sure that is a thing for people to say, because a lot of time I'm not sure if the person is looking for long or short. So maybe for future, I'll make sure I point that out. But I don't see the long. I think earlier someone mentioned about EuroCAD. Someone was asking for buy, or at least what I think about the buy. I really don't see much here. I almost don't even see this as a potential structure. And this area looks like more of an impulse and a reversal impulse. So this looks like could be a descending stuff to continue, but this can easily push up to the high here and reverse down as well, right? So even though there is something developing here, I don't think this is enough to justify a buy here, because to me there's not much development here. I don't really see a structure here. On the low here, I don't see much development here. That's to me personally. Yeah, I'm gonna jump into the indices after. I'm just looking at this question. What time does news start in South Africa? My friend, you should research that on your own, right? It's very simple. Go to Forex Factory. Go to calendar. Filter them to all the important ones. Find out your local time zone. If you're in South Africa, anybody here in the chat or live, South Africa is GMT +2 or +1. Anyone confirm that, please? Is South Africa GMT +1 or 2? Anyone live here? Can you tell me that? Yeah, but is GMT +2? Okay, so if South Africa GMT +2, then just change this time here to your local time zone, whatever that is, GMT +2. So any of these countries fall into where you are, then that is the one you need to select, and you can basically see all the important news for the day, right? So. I'm always up late. What do you mean by always up late? Like, it's morning here for me. I don't know what time you are. It's morning for me here. It's 7:50 a.m. here for in Vancouver. So to me, I'm always up early because I'm usually up around 6-ish in the morning. Because I do wake up for the New York session. But I do sleep through the London session though. I'm not up during the London session. So, but this should help you to get familiar with news. Okay. This is where you would go if you want to find out any news related to dollar or anything major currency. Euro Aussie, I did not. I don't see much on Euro Aussie, I don't think. Yeah, I really don't see much. Again, I'm not sure what you guys are looking at. I already went over Euro Pound already, so I'm not gonna go over again. Euro Aussie, not really clear to me. Are you looking for buy or looking for sell? Personally, I think the sell didn't happen. The sell was originally like this. We pushed down, correction, pushed down. But this Polish push to the upside, it doesn't really show me anything anymore. And I don't want to say this is a sell opportunity at all. I don't see that at all. So Kiwi Dollar went over that already as well, so I'm not going to go over. All the Bitcoins, all the crypto, I'm going to go over after I go over the indices, which is going to be quick. I'm going to talk about the indices now. So I'll start with a couple ones that I mentioned. DAX. So German 30. Could be an argument here that we're in this potential structure. I didn't put this one in, but this potentially is a structure that we're looking at. This is more looking like a ascending kind of parallel structure. So depending on this top, what's going to do is it going to make another way up and then potential reversal to push down. I'm definitely not looking for buy when it comes to something like this. If you zoom out, every time when I see something like this, right? Every time when I see something like this that is similar to what previous price action is, I'm looking for potential downside rather than upside. I'm not looking for upside here, okay? Because this is looking more corrective, just like what we have seen before the COVID drop. Same idea here. It looks like more of a potential reversal rather than continuation, at least from my point of view. That's DAX, and then let's go over a couple other ones. So I'm gonna go over Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow Jones. I just went over Euro Aussie. I'm not interested in that at all, and I don't see the sell at all. I don't see much development here, and really, there I don't know what you're looking at, but if you're thinking this is a double top, but there is not much developing here, right? Like I don't know what you're seeing, but this doesn't look like a bearish reversal at all. This just looks like a very strong bullish push up from the price, and I wouldn't even try to draw a structure like this. I think this is more of an impulsive phase rather than a corrective phase in this sense. So I'm not interested in the sell. Nasdaq now. So I'm gonna go over Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow Jones all together. I think there could be very possibility coming up in the next few days or so, but it all depends on what the price will do on the lower time frame. Now, if we start from the higher time frame, this is what I always like when I talk about these indices, is that when you look at previous price action, right? I'm gonna point out Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow Jones. They're basically all doing what it was doing before, right? This is from COVID, and this is from COVID crash. You're basically seeing the similar price action, right? There's really not much else difference. It's moving up in ascending line structure, and within the ascending structure, there is a smaller ascending structure, and this last bit of the price is in a correction. So all these really are looking very similar, and that gives you a potential bias, it gives you a potential confirmation that if this does break down on the lower time frame, this can easily start off the next higher time frame correction. We're not expecting this to drop ridiculous like this. I doubt that's going to happen, but a correction down or maybe down to the previous low is possible, and we're due for a correction anyways. If you think about how much price has recovered since coronavirus and how much it's needed to see a potential correction from the price, right? This is from 2018. We had, I think that's the presidential election, had the drop as well. So all these are basically showing you similar kind of price action. So if I go on the Nasdaq here, I'm basically looking to see if this push down is going followed by a correction to go lower. That is basically all I'm looking for, is wanting to see if this area is going to give us a little bit of consolidation or some sort of bearish price action is very key to look for as well, and look for the downside after. So moving on to S&P 500. The S&P 500 could be very good as well. Talk about a couple of these ones, I think, on weekly outlook. Same idea here. If we look at the higher time frame here, that we are seeing basically similar structure once again, right? This is similar structure once again. This is same from COVID crash when we have the COVID reversal. And again, not much difference from in terms of price action here. So if we have the higher time frame here, we have all these lower time frame corrections, and we have a very sharp breakdown. At least this is a clear kind of impulse breakdown, which is good to have. And you're basically looking at this area to see if we're going to get further continuation downwards. So going down to lower time frame here, this looks like something that's developing here. This is good. So if I continue to develop here and I continue to consolidate, I think it's fine to look for a potential sell opportunity. This could turn out to be a bullish reversal if you see it this way, but again, multi-time frame analysis. If you have the higher time frame bias of a sell, lower time frame bias, lower time frame kind of price action, to me, I'm more inclined to look for a sell rather than a buy, because I mean the buy has already happened, right? After the COVID move down, the buy has already recovered this much, right? So we're due for a correction here, in my opinion, whether it happens in the next recent time or not. But I do think there is a very good opportunity for a sell, and if we can actually break out the structure here, then further downside is possible as well. Euro Aussie, I went over that many times now. I'm not interested in the sell, guys. Sorry. Last one I'll talk about is Dow Jones. I think Dow Jones is also looking very, very clean. If we zoom out here on the higher time frame, again, this is similar price action, right? Similar kind of ascending structure that we're currently in. And basically, if we look deeper here into the lower time frame, we have similar ascending structure, and we push down from this double top here, right? Double top here, impulsively break, and basically looking to see if this is going to be a continuation correction here to push down the price, right? And then I like the consolidation we're in. I like how there is at least not a direct reversal. A lot of times when we see these move, if we look closely, like this kind of move, we'll have a sharp move to the downside. Basically, when we have a sharp move to the downside, if it's recover right away, right, something like this, recover right away, that shows you that the bearish momentum isn't going to continue without a correction here. It just had a reversal impulse out. But whereas today, or at this latest price action after this push down, it looks like there actually is a consolidation, which could lead to another push down for the price. So I'm going to basically just monitor this area a little bit longer and to see if we're going to get some good opportunity selling. And I do like the fact that there is good confluence here, good similar price action like the one we have seen in the past. And I like how we can potentially get the potential reversal. Certainly, this is from COVID, so I don't expect this to drop like that in a straight line. But I like how the price action is relatively similar, and we could potentially get the opportunity of a bearish correction. All right. So, any question here on the indices? Any question here on the indices itself? I'm not sure a lot of you. Okay, let me just go back to your Aussie. I'm not sure why a lot of you guys are seeing this as a sell. I mean, if this is the only thing you're looking at, like disregard anything else in the past. If this is the only thing you're looking at, um, sure. If you see this as a double top and you want to sell this, okay. But are we getting any bearish confirmation here? Is this bearish? Like, is this move up looking like we're going to reverse here? I really don't see that. So I'm not sure what you guys are seeing. If you can share me a screenshot, that would be nice. But I'm really not seeing anything sell. Like this isn't moving up in ascending channel. This isn't moving up with a head and shoulder. This doesn't have a mini double top or an M style pattern. Like maybe it's my mistake, but I'm failing to see there is bearish opportunities. I'm not really seeing that. I'm not also saying this is a bullish opportunity. I'm just more like this is not something that I will get involved in. It's just that simple, right? Like I'm not getting involved here. I'm not looking to buy. I'm not looking to sell. It's that simple because it doesn't really fit my plan to look for a sell. Like I'm failing to see the bearish kind of price action here. So if you guys have any screenshot you can share with me, I would appreciate that. So I can maybe I'm missing something here that you guys are seeing. That's good to show me as well, right? All right, so let's continue here. Let's continue here to some crypto now. If there's no question on any of the other pairs, let's continue to crypto. I want to kind of wrap up with crypto here. I'm only going to talk about a few that is looking actually pretty clean. I think Cardano is looking really, really clean. We talk about Cardano ever since from the bottom here. If you got those of you who follow me, we talk about Cardano all the way from the bottom here since mid 2020, I think, or mid 2020s. And I like how we basically bullishly impulsively out of this reversal correction, right? This is pretty clear. And we talk about also that after this bullish breakout, there is a very clean bullish continuation, which is good. That would price pushes up now. Now, I didn't get into any trading, but I did get in, like I always talk about, I did buy Cardano here quite a bit. So I'm just holding for a longer term approach, right? Now, we're basically approaching to this high or all-time high. There is looking like a bullish correction to continue higher, which is good. But I think breaking above this high is super important, right? So breaking above this high and then followed by further continuation is going to give you the confirmation for further upside. Now, I have kind of no doubt that this is going to continue higher and higher. It's just whether or not this correction is enough to correct all this move, because this is quite sharp of a move in the last few weeks or so. So whether or not this is going to continue, or maybe we create a bigger correction, which is fine with me as well. And then, but I'm basically looking to see if we can break this all-time high. And if we can break the all-time high, then definitely looking to buy more Cardano for a further upside. That's basically my plan. And as Cardano continue to grow, it's a bigger cap now, right? One of the bigger cap for crypto. So I only focus on the bigger cap one. Certainly, there's nothing wrong with looking at other ones, but I personally like to put my money for crypto. I mainly have coins. I'm not trading them as much. I mainly have coins to hold as investment for a longer term anyways. So I'm happy to hold through all these kind of deeper pullback if that's going to happen. But the bullish opportunity, the bullish trend really to me doesn't change. Limited opportunity this week? Exactly. When something like this happen in Forex market or anything like that, it's best to be patient, right? I know I keep repeating the word patient, but it's no surprise when during this time there are traders who are not patient and they really just lose unnecessary money. The way how I put it is, don't trade or buy or sell if there is no opportunity. Is really that simple, right? Don't just buy and sell or whatever if there's nothing going on, right? It's nothing. If it doesn't fit your plan, then stay out of it, right? Because you don't want to earn your profit for the last 2 weeks and just give it back to the market in one day. It just doesn't make sense, right? So, what am I meaning? Flags or color? Yeah, I went over this a few times. I think it's I have my own my what do you guys want to say? My this is how I do it. So red is like position on live. Orange is like primary watch this. Green would be like secondary watch this. Blue like request pairs or whatever. And then other color I forgot. I think I have I use purple. I think purple is the way how I can remind myself the videos I want to post, etc. But this is obviously customizable, right? You can use the color however you like. You can use the color however you wish them to be. It doesn't have to be the same as I do. They used to only give us 5. Now there's like 7, but I really didn't use the last 2. I just used the first 5 color. So for Bitcoin, I think someone asked about Bitcoin. If I look up here, or maybe that message is somewhere else. 5-minute chart for correction. I honestly don't look that small into the lower time frame on crypto. So to me, everything here is waiting for a bullish confirmation. Okay, I don't think anything changes from the last week or the previous week. After this down move, price falls into this kind of deeper correction. And this deeper correction, what was once looking more bearish to continue, is looking more bullish now to me, because we have this kind of a descending structure, double bottom, price impulsively break out of this descending, this expanding structure, sorry. and we broke above this high, right? I think this is the turning point, at least from my point of view. Yeah. You want to wait for a consolidation here. That will give you a little bit better opportunity to consolidate here to push higher. This gives you that bullish bias here. What was once a expanding structure for a possible bearish continuation is kind of no longer valid because this actually breaks above the high. So it's consolidating here, it's doing its thing, just let it do its thing, right? There's no entry here, right? If this falls down, then there's no entry, right? Don't jump in to buy if the opportunity isn't presenting itself. I would incline to wait for a correction, something like this, or something that is tangible, or maybe even a bigger correction like this. We don't know what's going to happen, but at least something that's going to show you that the momentum of the bullish trend will continue, and then look for another way up to the top. Yeah, moving on to Ethereum. So Ethereum also pushed up very high as well, right? We see this from the reversal price here. After we fall into this structure here, we actually had this really strong impulsive move to the upside, which is good. And I talk about now that we're breaking above this high here, this is very crucial is we're going to have to observe this area to see if it's going to be a potential reversal or is it going to be continuation. So similar approach like Bitcoin is right now it doesn't look too much. It looks like it's consolidated, and then maybe some of you guys see this. Some of the drawing I have seen it's kind of looking like a more ascending structure, and I do agree. At the time, it does look like an ascending structure, but this it all depends on if this is going to correct here and then push lower, kind of forming a head and shoulder or something like that. But if it doesn't, if it just gonna continue to consolidate here, then I'm more inclined to look for a buy actually for another move out from the price rather than a sell. So this key high area that it's broken, it's good. Now it all depends on what this area is it going to do. Is it going to form correction like this to push lower? Or we're going to consolidate here a little bit bigger and then looking for the upside afterwards. Other than that, I don't have anything else on watch. I don't have anything other than the ones that I just mentioned just now. So any question on the crypto pairs or anything like that that you want me to take a look? Every mind is not the same, just idea your idea. Yeah, exactly. I always say don't just blindly follow others' analysis. Make sure you have your own analysis and make sure that if you're entering any position or trade, it makes sense to you. Don't ever enter a trade if it doesn't make sense to you or it's just because someone else said so, right? No one else is going to, no one can guess the future, right? No one can predict the future, right? So if you saw someone talk about analysis and you enter and you're risking more than you should, then you got to work on that mindset and motion once again because no one can be 100% right on anything. This is trading. It's a probability. It's not right and wrong. So if it's a probability, you know that some trades you enter are going to be in a loss and some trade you enter are going to be in a win. So it's all about understanding risk management, your risk reward, keeping your risk small and maximize your reward. That's going to help you to be consistent and sustainable in the long run. Luna, I can take a look at Luna. What can I say about FTMO challenge? Someone trading your strategy. My strategy or in general price action, impulse correction, and all that stuff. I get this question a lot. You're not the first one who asks me about FTMO or prop firms and things like that. I have nothing against prop firm, but I would say that The reason why a lot of people who do these FTMO challenge or prop firms, they don't do well is because there's restriction. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I really never trade prop firms, but I'm aware of what they do and I know I understand their concept. They usually have a monthly requirement, whether or not how many trades you need to enter per day or per week, and how many profit you need to earn, obviously again per week or per month, and how much of a drawdown you can have before they cut you off, things like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, whoever is trading prop firms or is aware of their rules and requirement. Sometimes that may push a trader, or sometimes that may not help a trader because that trader will be like, well, I need to enter position because I need to meet the requirement. But what if you just basically have nothing to enter, like today? Let's say if you did today, there is no entries, there is no development, but because you are, a few trades behind or a few percentage behind, you are forced to enter more positions, which doesn't fit your plan or doesn't fit your management, doesn't fit your overall analysis, but you're forced to enter because the prop firm said so. So doesn't that create a negative outcome because now you're forced to do things that you wasn't ready to or wasn't prepped for? So that's something to be considered. It's not about the strategy. I think it's more to do with now you're forced to either hit that number or achieve that number at the end of the month. Otherwise, you don't qualify for the money sharing, right? So, what do I see at Luna? Well, I haven't seen Luna for quite a bit, but you can see my drawings here. So I guess I was talking about it a while ago. Looked like I had a really strong bullish push to the upside, which is great. I didn't expect this. This is from COVID, right? And basically had a period of consolidation and push up now. Now, I would almost guarantee to say there's no point buying here because if you're going to buy, you should be buying here or whatever, where there is actually a correction, whereas this does not look like a correction at all. So basically, if you're into long-term approach on them or whatever the case, you need to wait for another correction, right? Always, every time when I see a strong impulse move up like this, I would never tell people to start buying here. You would buy if you see a correctional phase, right? Whether or not it's small or big, at least that is better than just buying at the top here, which is a lot of times impatient traders or FOMO traders tend to do. And then when it starts correcting deep or bigger, they take them out just to continue upwards more. So wait for a correction here is going to be a better opportunities than just strict up buying here. That is my opinion on this one. Yeah, any consistent for there we go. So, any other questions or any other pairs to go over, everyone? Anything else you want me to take a look at? You're right. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, I don't trade prop firms, but I have nothing against it, like I said. But like I said, I point out a few drawdown or potential drawdowns of anyone trading up prop firms. But it's like what you said. If you're consistent, or sustainable, whatever, then really it doesn't matter what strategy you choose, right? It doesn't matter. You just have to hit the requirement to get the payout. If I understand correctly, and sometimes that could be good, sometimes that can be bad, unfortunately, because like I said, maybe you're doing very well for the first 3 weeks. You're profitable, you're gaining money, but unfortunately, the last week you're like, oh, I'm short. I'm 2% short to reach the target to reach the payout. Now I'm forcing myself to enter more positions, and you end up taking more losses and etc. So it's not a good feeling, right? So to recap for the day, if there's no question, everyone, do I trade synthetic? I don't. I don't trade synthetic indices. I know what they are, but I don't. At least I don't. I mean, for at least for Oanda, I don't offer this. Like I don't have that on here. If I have just regular indices. And other broker I use, I don't have. Let me just see. Like I don't have synthetic indices. I know what they are, but you can see I don't have them here. So okay, so to kind of recap for the day, recap for the this market update. I'm not really seeing much on any of the dollar pairs. I mentioned that. I know I got these questions about Kiwi dollar or other dollar pairs. I'm really not seeing much. This is why I take out all my chart lines as well. I don't see anything because I can kind of I'm more neutral on this. After seeing Kiwi dollar push down like this, what was once looking more to me as a bullish from the price action, I'm going to be a more conservative and be like, well, I'm going to be a little bit more neutral now. I'm going to be kind of observing what's going on in this overall area. So hence, there is really no dollar pairs on my watch, and euro dollar pushed down from previous day as well, right? So just got a break even here, and then looking to see what will happen in the upcoming days. Is the dollar going to get strength now or not? So more neutral. Dollar yen kind of continue pushes up, right? So again, got all of the positions. Move on, right? Because the price failed to push lower and form a bottom here, and then really just kind of have a bullish reversal up move. So that all kind of changed what was my previous analysis. I'm happy to get out of the position and re-observe what the market will do in the upcoming days. But I do think there is a lot of yen pairs that could be on the potential. Remember a few weeks ago I was more neutral on them, but I think they are developing a little bit more and more, which is good for us. With Aussie yen, do you want to see price break this low? Same thing with Kiwi yen as well, breaking this low, or Euro yen as well. They're all at this kind of low area where, while I do agree there could be further bearish opportunity, but I do need to see some sort of corrective price action before confirming it. But there is one yen pair to me that is looking good, which is cat yen. Again, I'm not in this position yet. I'm kind of on the sideline, but I want to see how this area develop. Is it going to develop into a good continuation kind of flag? So impulse, correction, impulse. And then if we look at the higher time frame here, it's looking pretty clean for a potential head and shoulder, right? So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You can see price initially pushed down to this low, basically failed to do that and pull back. But this is basically creating kind of a neckline now. So basically, if we're able to create a continuation here, then break out, then I do